We all know that when we render elements in the loop in React, it's asking to add the property key with some unique values for every element which is rendered in the loop, right? In this example, I am rendering currencies exchange rate inside the select element, so that we are going to have a drop down of the rates, and every rate is rendered inside a map method. And for the key, I'm using IDs. What will happen if I will remove this key? React will complain. Each child in list should have unique key prop, right? So let's add it, and let's see what we're doing here. If I will select the second currency from the list, and then we will remove the first one. So on click of this button, the first element from this list, the first currency rate, which would be USD to AED, would be removed. But the one which is selected is the second one, right? It should be still selected, or even better, let's select the third one, okay? The third one in the list. Now I'm removing the first one, and we can see that doesn't matter that now this selected rate is second in the list, it's still active. So with unique keys for every element rendered in the loop, React was able to keep selection because it remembers which key this element had, and nothing is changing, right? So it's working properly as expected. Now let's see the difference if we're going to use the index instead of unique ID, right? At the moment, this ID is created before with UUID, so the data we are rendering already has unique ID for every currency in the array. Now, if instead of these IDs, we're going to use indexes in the loop, right? I will modify the code a little bit. I will create another array with no IDs, just to show you what will happen. So now we just have in quotes, okay? And then in the map for the key, we're going to use indexes of the array. If we don't provide key, then React defaults to indexes as well. So now we're also selecting the third currency from this list, and we're going to remove the first from the array. What will happen? We can see that instead of the one we selected, which was this, React keeps the active one, the selected one, the third one, because the indexes shifted after we removed the first currency, and the element selected before initially, which is this USD to all, it had a key 2 because we're using indexes. So index 0, 1, 2, the element with key 2 was selected. But because these keys are coming from indexes, as soon as we remove the first element from the list and everything is shifting, the key 2 now corresponds not to the currency we selected initially, but to the currency which has index 2, which is completely different from what we had before, right? So important thing to understand here is that if you just render the list in the loop, the list of elements, and you're not going to modify them, never, then using indexes is fine. Otherwise, if you render something from the loop and you know that this list could be modified, then we cannot use indexes. We have to prepare our data initially to make sure that every element in the array, which we're going to use for rendering, has unique ID. And then we can use this unique ID as the key inside our map method. Then we're going to render elements. In this case, it will be predictable and it will be working as expected. Even if we will modify the list, then nothing will change, right? We can see it clearly. The selected element, it was the third one, now it's the second one, but React can see what it should render and re-render just by using those keys.